is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast. We want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman, and ladies and gentlemen, every single time that Democrats are about to lose at something, whatever it is, seemingly always the antics come out. And we've seen that once again from this story from the Post Millennial. Breaking: Democrat congressman pulls fire alarm to delay GOP stopgap spending bill. His actions could potentially land him 17 years in prison. Oh boy. Let's read. Let's get into this. Far left rep Jamal Bowman, Democrat from New York, was pulling a fire alarm at the House office building on Saturday as Democrats were attempting to impede a vote on a Republican-backed stopgap spending bill. Footage captured showed alarms ringing in the U.S. Capitol building, and there's that video there. You can go watch that on the Post Millennial's X account. Bowman was caught triggering the alarm on camera. This is a video or a picture from the U.S. Capitol Police that they posted on the internet. Several witnesses have reportedly confirmed the event. This is the United States Congress, not a New York City high school. To pull the fire alarm to disrupt proceedings when we are trying to draft legislation to avert a shutdown is pathetic, even for members of the Socialist Squad. Rep. Nicole Maliotakis, goodness, that's a name, Maliotakis posted on X, formerly known as Twitter. The Democrat congressman's actions could potentially be punishable with up to 17 years in prison. Yes, that is correct. Since the incident, a spokeswoman for Bowman said he did not realize he would trigger a building alarm. Okay. Full stop right there. Full stop. That's a lie. Okay. Let's just go right back on up to this picture right here, okay? I don't know if you've ever seen a fire alarm before. It literally says fire alarm right on the thing. And you can clearly see Rep. Jamal Bowman right there, clearly looking directly at the fire alarm and purposely pulling the alarm. These people are liars, okay? I don't know how he thought that saying, "Oh, I didn't realize I was going to set off an alarm." I don't know how he thought that saying that was going to convince anyone. It's not convincing anyone. Like, look at the picture. Oh, my goodness. Let's continue. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican from Georgia, reacted to the news by calling for the Department of Justice to prosecute Bowman under the same laws that it used to imprison defendants who were involved with the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021, for interfering with an official proceeding, which is exactly what Mr. Jamal Bowman did. Greene added the Democrats literally will do anything to shut our government down because billions aren't going to their favorite country, Ukraine. And of course, none of these little antics even worked at all. We got this story from the Post Millennial. Breaking: House passes a 45-day stopgap resolution to avoid shutdown with no Ukraine funding. Boom. That's exactly what we need to see, man. Zero Ukraine funding. Now, this is going to be going to the Senate to see if it passes, and we'll see who's standing in the way of the government being funded, man. Now, me personally, I'm the type of guy, I would much rather the government shut down because, in my opinion, the federal government isn't really necessary to our everyday lives, and that if we could just get a shutdown, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. We would all realize, oh, the government's very, very useless to our lives, and we don't really need it at all anyways. But, we could really all do fine with just our state governments. It's not really that necessary to have a federal Anyways, that's just the libertarian in me. This isn't a perfect deal or a permanent solution. You're right. The House of Representatives passed a continuing resolution to keep the federal government open for another 45 days to give the two sides more time to come to a more long-term solution. That's important. This is not a long-term solution. This is not them just this is not an omnibus, okay? Omnibus bills in the past, the omnibus spending bills have been where they've come in and they have just stuffed a bunch of stuff into a document and just pushed it on through, and trillions of dollars have been spent. And this is important because it's just a 45 days. It's just giving them 45 days to figure it out. But the most important thing is that there's not going to be any funding for Ukraine. No more funding. We're done. We're done funding a war that has nothing to do with us. We're done spending billions of dollars in a country that most Americans can't even find on a map. We're done, sending all of our weapons over there and declawing our military, our own military. We're done spending billions of dollars in Ukraine when we have people over in Maui who don't have homes anymore. Boy, that's a story that's unraveling very quickly. Goodness gracious. Let's continue. The resolution passed 335 to 91 and now moves to the Senate for a vote. According to NBC, the continuing resolution has billions of dollars for disaster aid, but removed any new funding for the Ukraine war the Democrats were pushing for. That's exactly what we need. Billions of dollars for disaster aid. There are disasters. I don't know if you guys have been, paying attention lately. Maybe you've been living under a rock. There's disasters everywhere in this country. Everywhere. Look at the southern border. Look at all the drugs coming across, killing tens of thousands of Americans every single year. Look at all the sex trafficking of children. Oh yeah, that's a disaster. Look at Maui, like I just said. Disaster. Yet, we've been spending billions of dollars in a country that, once again, most Americans can't even point out on a map. Even today, after the Ukraine war has been going on for over a year, most Americans still can't point it out on a map. So, we're done with that. We're done. Thank you very much. And we're going to find out real quick just how desperate these Democrats who are pushing this military-industrial complex, we'll see just how desperate they are to keep this Ukraine funding going. Because I'm telling you, guys like Representative Matt Gaetz, they are not afraid. They're not afraid to shut this government down. And I love it. I freaking love it, man. Not afraid to shut the government down in order to do what needs to be done. It's not going to hurt us. I'm sorry. The government shutting down for a little bit, it's not going to hurt me. I don't care about the government. Maybe if they default on their debt, that might cause some issues. But at the end of the day, I've kind of been saying that we need to do that anyways now before the debt gets even bigger and we end up having to do it anyways in the future. It's going to happen eventually. I'm telling you, you don't have over $30 trillion in debt and you don't eventually default. I'm sorry, you don't. It's going to happen at some point in our history. That's reality. Okay? So just keep on kicking the can down the road. Ain't going to work. Just get it over with. But that's neither here nor there. Let's continue. The last-minute bill had some lawmakers complaining that they didn't have enough time to read the bill before voting on it. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, a Democrat from New York, said in a speech on the floor, "We are on the brink of a government shutdown. And at the 11th hour, legislation is dropped on the American people. And we're told that you have 5 or 10 minutes to evaluate legislation that is more than 70 pages long and expected to just simply trust the word of our extreme MAGA Republican colleagues." 70 pages? 70 pages. You're mad that they gave you a bill that was just 70 pages? I would like to turn everyone's attention to this little memory right here from Real Clear Politics. This is back in 2022. This was the last spending bill that was passed by the House and the Senate. From Senator Rand Paul, wheels in toxic omnibus budget. This process is an abomination. That right there was the last omnibus bill. literally had to be carted into the room on a cart. That's how big it is. This was back in 2022. Over 4,100 pages. And you're mad about 70? Really? Dog. You see how Democrats act when they're about to lose something? When Democrats are about to lose, you see all of the antics, all of the victimization, all of the self-victimization. Oh, we're victims. We can't all read this 70-page thing all at once. Republicans are doing to us what we've been doing to them for the past decade. Grow up, dude. You can't use the power of government against your opponents for over a decade, for like literally decades now. I mean, Democrats have just been using the power of government to just try everything they can to destroy the Republican Party. And you want to start crying and you want to cry victim when Republicans finally start doing the same to you, when they finally show a little backbone? This is the first time in a long time the Republicans that I have seen have shown even the slightest backbone. And I'm very proud of it because it's happening because of guys like Representative Matt Gaetz. Oh my gosh, I couldn't be more proud. He's my favorite politician right now. Not that I have favorite politicians because I think all politicians are scum, but if I had to choose, he'd be the guy, man. Representative Matt Gaetz doing an incredible job. Finally giving the Republicans a backbone. They're pushing back. And they're forcing the Democrats to show who they truly are. Oh, we're victims. 70 we can't read 70 pages. I'd be surprised if a Democrat could read one page. I mean, let's be honest, man. Is that really why Hakeem Jeffries was so upset about this bill? He, complaining about 70 pages. I think Hakeem Jeffries and the rest of his Democrats, they might just not be able to read. Let's continue, man. New Democrat coalition chair Ann Kuster, a Democrat from New Hampshire, reiterated that this isn't a final bill, but a stopgap to continue working on a better one. She said, let's be clear, this isn't a perfect deal or a permanent solution, but New Dems are dedicated to avoiding a shutdown and protecting our economy. That's important, man. This is the most important thing. Because you have to understand, if Republicans, now I'm all for this personally. Personally, I'm all for this because, like I said, it's going to happen eventually. Ultimately, Republicans and Democrats are worried about a government shutdown that results in the government having to default on its $30 trillion in debt, which is, once again, insane. And then that's going to cause a major implosion of the U.S. dollar. It will. It will cause a major implosion. Now, my opinion, that's going to happen anyways. It's going to happen eventually, period. Now, personally, I would rather do it now so that we can get it out of the way and so that we can start taking steps to recover as a nation before it gets to my daughter's generation. I don't want my daughter to have to deal with that level of inflation and insanity. Put the burden on me. As a father and as a man, that's my responsibility. I want the burden on me now so that my children don't have to deal with it in the future. Let's get this over with and deal with this now. Deal with the debt issue now. But of course, nobody wants to listen to me, man. Ultimately, all of these spending bills, you can make all kinds of spending cuts. You can put a whole bunch of money towards the debt. Ultimately, man, I don't think it's going to work. Because the minute that the Republicans lose the House or the Senate again and the Democrats gain power again, guess what's going to happen? Just more debt immediately. All those cuts we made, all those payments that we made on the debt to lower the debt, all of that useless. Completely pointless. Because the minute Democrats get back into power, it's just more spending. It's just more debt. It's pointless, man. It's pointless. At least in my opinion. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments, man. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.